Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the video to back up this week's lesson, the third week lesson for junior SAT prep. Our topic this week will be interpreting linear functions. Once again, folks, this video should only be getting watched if you A, were not present for your SAT prep day, Tuesday or Wednesday during plug time, or B, if you need a refresher before completing the quizzes assignment. So we're going to be dealing exclusively with linear functions, that is y equals mx plus b. Now remember that another way to write y is to write f of x equals mx plus b, where m is the rate of change or slope, and b is the initial value or y-intercept. So all we're doing here is interpreting word problems that are linear functions. So let's go through some examples. This should be a relatively quick lesson here. So starting with example 1 says the function f, representing the percentage of Mr. Wills' cell phone battery that remains X hours after he takes it off the charger each morning, is shown. What is the meaning of the -3 in the equation? So when we're looking at this function, we have to remember that it is in the order y equals m times x plus b. Now we are trying to be a little bit tricky here in that the number that is not attached to the slope is the 100. So 100 is the b. And then the slope, well, that's the number attached to the x. So we're looking here in this equation, we have b is 100 and we have m equals -3. So they're asking us to interpret the meaning of the slope. Now remember that slope is also known as a rate of change, okay, and it's always going to be the change in y, which is cell phone battery, over the change in x, which is hours. So when we're looking at this, we should be seeing a change in the amount of battery power remaining, which means A is not the correct answer because it is not a rate. Okay, so same with B. B is also not a rate of change. So right away, we should be able to eliminate those two answers. Now the other key here is the negative. See, we have these words in the other two that mark whether the rate should be going up or going down. In this case, the slope is negative, which means that Mr. Wills' phone battery is draining 3% each hour after it's removed from the charger. So our correct answer is D. Okay. On C, this is not correct because M is negative, not positive. Okay, so that's how we're going to approach these problems. They'll give us an equation, they'll ask us for what is a specific value, or they could turn around and say which equation represents the situation. So let's take a look at example 2. In example 2, we have this word problem about a helicopter. It says a helicopter initially hovering at 30 feet above ground begins to gain altitude at a rate of 11 feet per second. Which of the following functions represents the helicopter's altitude above ground y t seconds after it begins to gain altitude? So we're looking for an equation in the form y equals m times t plus b, where b is the initial height, which is given in the problem as being 30 feet. So b is 30 feet above the ground. And m is the rate of change, which is given in the problem as well, as here's the word rate right there, of 11 feet per second. So that is telling us our m value is 11. Okay? So the correct equation would be y equals 11 times t plus the initial height of 30. So the correct answer is B. Okay, A does not have a t. C has slope is negative, which makes that wrong. It's increasing, not decreasing, so the slope should be positive. And then D, the wrong number is attached to t. Okay, so that's why the other three answers are incorrect. Finally, we have in the equation below, a and b are constants. If the equation has infinitely many solutions, that's going to be key for x. What is the value of b? Remember that to get infinitely many solutions, x drops out. What is left over is true. In other words, both sides are the same. So what we do here is we distribute the a, which gives us ax plus ab equals 3x plus 6. Then we look at that and we say to ourselves, well, in order for the x to drop out, these two terms have to be the same. The ax and 3x have to be the same. Okay, so in order for ax to equal 3x, we know that a has to be 3. So then we substitute that in to get 3x plus 3b equals 3x plus 6. Now in order for us to get infinite solutions instead of no solution, 3b has to equal 6. Divide by 3 and we get b has to equal 2. Okay, so this is a two-step version of the one we've done the last 2 weeks. We have to realize that a is 3, which means that b is 2. All right, so that does it for the video. Now again, you should be going to the Google Classroom. The code is there on the screen at the very bottom, TPPQWTJ. And in that classroom is a link to Quiziz where you will be completing the Quiziz for today. Thank you very much for your time and attention.